Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Shelby of Shelby in the Book Club, and in today's video we're going to talk about some books that I would like to reread. I am not often a reread a book kind of girl, but I feel like I might be changing, and that is okay. You know, I feel like changing your mind gets a lot of slack. Like, people don't they feel like when you are an adult and you just change your mind, that you have like betrayed the system somehow. When really it's like you get new information, you change, you grow, you change your mind. It is what is supposed to happen, okay? So if you would like to hear about some of the books that I would like to reread, maybe not immediately, but eventually, here we go. Okay, this pile, 2, 4, 6, 7 books are in no particular order. Some of these I have DNF'd. Some of these I read completely and absolutely loved and you guys have heard about before. And I would just like to reread them. So first on the list, we have The Jigsaw Man by Nadine Matheson. I started this book and did not finish it. And I think I want to give myself some more time to not really remember what it all is about. But it is like a thriller, and I believe it's supposed to be a part of a series. And I was enjoying it. I just had other things that I wanted to read. So it says one day she returns to active duty with the serial crimes unit. Detective Inspector Angelica Henley is called to a crime scene. Dismembered body parts from 2 victims have been found by the river. The modus operandi bears a striking resemblance to Peter Oliver, a notorious jigsaw killer who has spent the past 2 years behind bars. When he learns that someone is co-opting his grisly signature, the arrangement of the victim's limbs in a puzzle piece shapes, he decides to take the matters into his own hand. As the body count rises, Angelica Henley is faced with an unspeakable new threat. Can she apprehend the copycat killer before Oliver finds a way to get to him first? Or will she herself become the next victim? It was really good. The writing was good, so on and so forth. I just had other stuff that I needed to get to. And yeah. Next we have The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd. So this was my first Sue Monk Kidd book. This also was the first book pick for Shelby in the Book Club, if you did not know that. And I think about this book often. I miss some of the characters in this book. I love the concept of the book. As you can see, I have all sorts of tabs and such in this book. Let's pick a random tab and see what I highlighted. It says, I feared he would not just find trouble, but make trouble. Associating with harlots, lepers, and tax collectors would stir up more rejection. But so what? I wasn't bothered that he befriended them. No. It was this new habit he had of speaking out against the authorities that worried me. Now, as I watched Jesus and Judas climb the rungs, the same ominous feeling I'd had that night returned to me. This was such a good book. It was such a good book. It was just such a good book. I really would like to reread this and see how I take it in again. Another tab. Think of it. The life you're living can be torn apart like Osiris is, and a new one pieced together. Some part of you might die, and a new self will rise up to take its place. Right now, you are a girl in your father's house, but soon that life will die, and a new one will be born, that of a wife. She turned her gaze on me. Do not leave it to fate. You must be the one who does the resurrecting. You must be Isis recreating Osiris. had a bunch of gems in here. It's thought-provoking. It's just a good book. A very, very good book. So if you did not read this, I recommend that you do. It's supposed to be about what if Jesus had a wife. And I know that is scary for a lot of people, but give it a chance. I think it truly is a book about women empowerment. It's a good one. Next on the list, we have Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. Again, I started this book. It's a short one. Never got around to finishing it. Talia is being held at a correctional facility for adolescent girls in the Forested Mountains of Colombia after committing an impulsive act of violence that may or may not have been warranted. She urgently needs to get out and get back home to Bogota, where her father and a plane ticket to the United States are waiting for her. If she misses her flight, she might also miss her chance to finally be reunited with her family in the North. And it kind of goes through her story. I got a couple of pages in, and like I said, it was good. I've heard amazing things about this. I want to read that again. Next, we have The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. He is one of my favorite male authors. Black male authors in general. And I think about his writing style very, very often. Very often I think about it. It is intriguing. There are just so many things that I could say about this story and about this book. I think this might have to be a book club pick, because I want to read it again. It just, the magical realism, the way he just pieces words together. I knew that I was at like peak nerd in my life when I was attracted to the way a man puts words together. It does something to me, okay? This is a story about Hiram Walker. He was born into bondage. When his mother was sold away, Hiram was robbed of all memory of her, but was gifted with a mysterious power. Years later, when Hiram almost drowns in the river, that same power saves his life. This brush with death births an urgency in Hiram and a daring scheme to escape from the only home he's ever known. So begins an unexpected journey that takes Hiram from the corporate grandeur of Virginia's proud plantations to desperate guerrilla cells in the wilderness, from the coffin of the deep south to dangerous idealistic movements in the north. Even as he's enlisted in the underground war between slavers and the enslaved, Hiram's resolve to rescue the family he left behind endures. This is a dramatic story of an atrocity inflicted on generations of women, men, and children, and the violent separation of families, and the war they waged to simply make lives of the people that they loved. He also has nonfiction that is really, really good if you guys have never read any of his work and are looking into it. Lip gloss, y'all. Lip gloss. Next, we have Americana by Chia, Monda, Ngozi, Adichie. I started reading this years ago, so many years ago, that I don't remember what it is about. But I am going to be starting Half of a Yellow Sun soon, and it made me realize that I never finished this book, but I wanted to. So it says, Ifemilu and Obenzi are young and in love when they depart military rule. depart military ruled Nigeria for the West. Beautiful, self-assured Melu heads for America, where, despite her academic success, she is forced to grapple with what it means to be black for the first time. Quite thoughtful Obenzi had hoped to join her, but with the post 9/11 America closed to him, he instead plunges into a dangerous, undocumented life in London. At once powerful and tender, Americana is a remarkable novel of race, love, and identity by the award-winning writer Chia Ngozi Adichie. So yeah, I started this a long time ago, did not get to finish it, and would like to. Now, the next book, y'all are gonna be like, girl, if you talk about this book one more damn time. The Rage of Dragons. When I tell you I miss Tao. I miss him. I wonder what he's doing all of the time. Is he well? So, I'm going to have to read this and the second book in this series. Again, if you don't know, this is the story of revenge. It is a fiction. There are dragons. There is an amazing magic system. I love it so much. My mother and I love it so much. So yeah, I need to read this again very soon. Because it was just good. And again, maybe I could just make it a book club pick and make y'all read it with me. And then last but certainly not least on this list, we have, not I was using a Chipotle napkin as a bookmark, the Black Leopard Red Wolf. This, I'm gonna be honest with you, y'all put a bad taste in my mouth about this book, and I'm gonna blame y'all because it was a book club pick. A lot was going on in my life at the time. I liked this book, and y'all hated it because it was dark and all this other stuff that y'all said. So then it made me feel like that I didn't like the book, when in all actuality it wasn't that bad. And I want to read the second one, so I need to read this again. So yeah, and just so that you know, this is about, so it says, Tracker is known for his skills as a hunter. He has a nose, people say. Hired to find a mysterious boy who disappeared, Tracker breaks his own rule of always working alone when he finds himself a part of a group assembled to search for the boy. The band is a hodgepodge full of unusual characters, including a shape-shifting man animal known as the Leopard. As Tracker follows the boy's scent, he and the band are set upon by creatures intent on destroying them. As he fights for survival, Tracker starts to wonder, who really is the boy? Why has he been missing for so long? And perhaps most important, who is telling the truth and who is lying? So this is a part of a trilogy. This is the first book in the trilogy. And the cool thing about the trilogy is each book is going to be told from the perspective of a different character. And we basically have to figure out who is telling the truth. Who do we think is telling the truth? So I would like to read it. I like Marlon James as an author. I do believe that he can be very violent in his writing. So if that is something that turns you off, then don't read his work. I've read one of his other books along with that one, and it made me feel like he might don't like women a little bit or at all. So just keep that in mind if you're reading it. If you've read any of these books or interested in any of these books, please let me know. I love talking to y'all all the time. But yeah, if no one has told you today, I love you. You're kind, you're smart, you are important, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, friends.